Have you ever seen the shows 90 Day Fiancé or Catfish? What's the two things that they usually have in common? They're dating somebody virtually. They're talking to somebody for months or sometimes years, and they never met this person in real life. And they supposedly love the person, right? Which that word's really thrown around a lot, very easily at times. But then when you see that they finally meet in real life, they all of a sudden lose things. That attractiveness, that connection that they thought they had. They thought they loved them, but all of a sudden they're picking apart everything that they do. Everything's very conditional. With catfish, of course, the name says it all. The person could be catfished, and then this person might have wasted months or years in this so-called virtual relationship that doesn't really exist in reality. And then they meet the person finally, and that person is either not the pictures or nothing they pretended to be. And some of them are doing stuff out of actually revenge, which is even worse. But the thing that's the overlining thing with this is that these people are in these relationships for long periods of time and never got to spend time with them in real life. You can't get to know somebody until you spend time with them. So even if you're talking to somebody, after a short period of time, you should meet up. It doesn't mean you should move in together and get married, but you should try to spend quality time together, because this is how you'll really get to know somebody. You can't do it online. You just can't. The person's going to present whatever they want to sell you the goods, and vice versa. And there could be a lot of mirroring. And of course, you're more polite, right? They could be a salesman. They could just be selling you something. Plus, if it's like with 90 Day Fiancé the other way, where this person's not from the country, they might just want to come to America. They might just want a green card. And it has nothing to really do with you. There's been some beautiful relationships that have come about, so it doesn't mean that it can't. But you should spend time with the person. And you should allow that relationship to develop slowly, not jumping into anything. You can't get to know anybody within a 1 hour date, or what I like to call the interview. You can't. The person's gonna pretty much use their answers according to what they think you want to hear with the questions. So then some people are just not honest. So when you think you have these diehard questions where it's like, oh, if they don't check this off, it's over. And you don't even know the person. You don't know their circumstances. There's some people like, well, are you close with your family? Do you know that person's situation? Some people are close because they're able to be, and some people have to distance themselves for their own mental health and well-being. It doesn't mean that they hate anybody. It doesn't mean that they're not a good person. But again, with all the stuff that you see with the online dating, people tend to either get into this deep relationship for long periods of time and never met the person in real life, where that's not good. That's the opposite end of the spectrum, where you don't know somebody until you spend time with them. It's just, that's the reality of things. You can't change that. You'll get to know people over time. You could be attracted to somebody, you could think there's chemistry, but that could die off within a short period of time after you spend time with them. Or you could say, okay, they're attractive, but then as you get to know them, they become the most beautiful person in the universe to you. And then on the other end, you meet somebody super quickly, and this person has everything in common with you. They love everything you do. They put you on a pedestal. They worship the ground you walk on. They're future faking, saying, oh my God, I could see myself getting married to you and having kids with you and moving in with you. And they sell you this whole fantasy, which most of you are used to from all the movies and the TV shows and the romance novels. And this is what this has become normalized, the whole butterflies effect and feeling. And, these aren't healthy ways of anything. A great example, watch the movie Frozen. You get to learn towards the end what really happens. And if you see the show Dirty John, if somebody's very toxic, they move very fast. And this is, with the love bombing, the mirroring, putting you on a pedestal, they move very, very fast because they want to get you cornered. So, it's like moving in, with somebody within 2 weeks, a few days, a couple of months. This isn't the norm anymore. So they move very fast, getting somebody pregnant right away, purposely, to get them, to get their claws into them where they can't leave. Guys could do this too, obviously. So it's like when you get to meet somebody, take your time. Don't see each other every day, every second of the day. I mean, that person might be wanting to move fast on purpose. And then, also when you see red flags, don't paint them a different color. Don't put glitter on it. Red flags are red flags. So, don't create your own either, where that person's like, oh, do you like sushi? And the person's like, no, not really. And then you go, oh, I love sushi. If somebody doesn't love sushi, I can't date with them. They must hate Asian culture. It's like, and then you start to spin off into these things that just aren't true. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to check all the lists. But if somebody does have a criminal record of stalking, domestic violence, a restraining order, and anything like that, don't put that as, people make mistakes. No, your biggest mistake might be just giving them the benefit of the doubt and then suffering brutally after you do that. So I wouldn't recommend that at all. But a healthy thing to do is be able to talk with somebody on the phone, but most importantly, spend time in person, because then you'll see if you guys really get along. And even if that person starts to move super fast, you have boundaries. You have full control of how slow or fast you allow things to move. And the right thing I think to do is just take things slow. Don't let that person move in within 2 weeks, because that's just crazy. And, just watch out. If somebody sells you something that's big and grand, it's probably a facade. If somebody's always bragging about external things and how great they are and who they work for and how much money they make and what their title is, that's nice. But if you're not learning anything about their core values and their true nature and who they are and how their morals, their values, their ethics, their history, those are important things, because that's what helps make them who they are, what they learned from it, their mistakes. These are the things you should be getting from spending time with the person. Their likes, their dislikes, their quirky things, their pet peeves. These are only things you could actually experience in person. So when you meet somebody, don't be in a rush for anything. If that person wants to speed things up, you put the brakes on it. And it's not about distancing yourself where you're avoiding them. It's just like, let's just slow down. Let's spend time together. Let's get to know each other and build that strong foundation. Because once you do that, you have a real relationship and you have a healthy one. And then from there, you could actually experience true love and real love with the right person for you.